What's happening, sports fans? We welcome you back to another episode of San Diego Prep Insider. Christian Pedersen, Tommy Morris, Bodie De Silva on behalf of Scorebook Live, the official digital content provider for everything high school sports. We got a huge show to get to, games, top 10, all that kind of stuff to talk about. But before we get there, let's go ahead and hear from our sponsors, the U.S. Army. You get to the U.S. Army. Okay, we're going to get to top 10. We're going to get to a lot of things, but I do want to just real quick say that as a show, we heard loud and clear that Morris is not represented well enough in terms of the media coverage here in San Diego. So I would just like to point out that the level of dedication to which we are trying to correct that is I am proud, even in defeat, to represent one of Coach Shacklett's best products, Dino Babers, Morris alumni, head coach of Syracuse, coming down to a badly thrown interception late in the game they could have beat Clemson. Like, that's what's up.
They had Clemson rattled, took out the quarterback. They had a shot there. I thought it was going to happen. Nope.
But let's still credit that a Morris alumni is out there, like, very close to taking down the number 5 team, and that job will get done very soon. So shout out Dino Babers, shout out to Morris High School Products. Let's talk some high school football. Bodie De Silva from Scorebook Live. He has our top 10. Bodie, you can kind of speed through it. I don't think you need to necessarily give people the what happened last week and all that kind of details, but let's just look at it as if it was the breakdown of the playoffs right now. Who's your 1 through 10?
Yeah, so the top 7 for me have stayed the exact same here, at least since last week. Carlsbad's there at number 1. Lincoln at 2, obviously Madison at 3. That's the huge matchup this week. Number 4 is Poway, still unbeaten. Helix is there at number 5. Granite Hills for me is there at number 6. Cathedral Catholic at number 7, and then 8, 9, 10 where there was some movement. Mater Dei Catholic now up to 5 and 4. The 5 straight wins all by shutout. They are up 1 spot. Mission Hills jumps back in. They beat El Camino 14-13, and El Camino slides from number 9 to number 10. In this week, so we'll have one more next week, but not a ton of movement. Things are making a lot more sense here as we'll see the brackets here in 4 or 5 days.
So you're 1 through 4 for people that were what would be the open division? What do you have that as right now?
Yeah, so based on what I have, it's Carlsbad, Lincoln, Madison, Poway. Although when you look at power rankings, they obviously have Mission Hills up, and for me, they're just moving back in the top 10 this week. So a big difference there. I'm not sure Poway's going to make it with the strength of schedule, even if they finish undefeated. But I think that last spot in the open division is going to be really interesting once this week of games played.
Tommy, you ran out of theory last week about El Camino potentially making it up. Some of the math has become a little bit more solidified. Are there any other teams that you are looking at in this 3 through 6 that you want to talk about? Or
all I'm going to say is there is the potential for a 3-way tie for 3rd based on how some things shake up. And I don't know what the tiebreaker is in that situation, because then that means one team kind of gets iced out, and kind of a good consolation prize to get to be the 1 seed in Division 1. But I don't know what that. It might be like a coin flip, like Friday Night Lights. I don't know how we even do that. So, when I say tiebreaker, it's not like it's like literally the exact same amount of strength points. So there's no decimal you can go find. I don't know if maybe common opponent is the next thing or whatever, but I would love to see it because I just want to see chaos. So that's what I'm rooting for.
Let me ask you this. If I am reading this correctly, and this is something you can go check out on Scorebook Live with all the great work that they are doing there, even outside of our section, but the Southern section is flirting with potentially a flexible sized open division. Dare I say that this year could be the first time that would be a reasonable debate in my memory of the open division. And I'm not saying let's go lawless and all of a sudden reactionary, be like, we'll just do a ton of teams every year and whatever. But this could be a 6 team, maybe even an 8 team field, and we wouldn't necessarily be upset at it. Am I correct with that? Or is ultimately Carlsbad plus Lincoln or whoever, Madison up there, runaway favorites?
Yeah, if you were to give me Carlsbad, Lincoln, Madison, I think those 3 are a step above whoever makes it in as that 4 spot. I don't think this would be a terrible year if we were to go to 8 or go to 6. 6, I always think of just to give that 1 and 2 a first round bye. And we've talked about Southern Section. I can't believe that they wait till after the season to tell you how many teams are making it. That seems just insane to me.
I love that. I love that, because if you did that, you wouldn't have any room to second guess coaching shenanigans about
I guess
that's they fair, tank or whatnot, because then you'd be like, that guy had no idea if he was tanking to 8 or to 9 because he didn't know where the playoff line would be. Oh, it's 6. He's the 5 seed. Like,
which never happened in this section ever.
No. Competition with integrity. What is it? Sports with
not
honor.
That I can remember.
Competition with integrity.
Yep. Never ever. No one's ever done that here. So.
Not until the DraftKings stuff gets out here. Then we can fully free to assume that some of these coaches have.
I mean, it is a good way. It is a great way to prevent that, because, like I was kind of saying, if you get the 5 seed, it's not the end of the world. You still get to beat a 1 seed, and you get a chance to win a championship. So
let's do a 6-team field. Who are the 6 right now? With let's assume that 1 and 2 is Carlsbad Madison. They get the buys.
I mean, for Madison, they're going to have to beat Lincoln if they want that, which they're going on the road.
Let's just, on paper though, they are the 9-0. There's the 8-1. It just plays out mathematically like chalk. So we go Carlsbad, Madison 1-2. Who are 3 through 6 when would be our 2 matchups?
I would still put Lincoln at 2 in that situation anyway. So then you would have Madison. I think Poway's earned it. I think Helix is, at this point, again, this is all assuming that these teams win, which with Madison, Lincoln, you can't really, they're interchangeable with 2 and 3 there. I think Cathedral has probably earned their way back in. So that would be the other 3, then would be Poway, Cathedral, Helix. I think that's fair. I think there's a pretty clear drop off after that 6th spot too.
Yeah, and if you wanted to say Mission Hills is in, I have no problem with that. I think the thing that hurts Helix is they played Cathedral head-to-head and they lost by a point. So even though I have them ranked higher in recent weeks because they have won more games, Cathedral is up to 5 losses. Cathedral still does to have that head-to-head, and at the end of the day, that always makes a lot of sense to me. Like, when you've played head-to-head, you've done it on the field within this season, within recent weeks, like that has to count for something.
So you guys have some facsimile of Madison, Poway, Helix, and then Cathedral.
The only thing I'd say there, like, obviously Granite Hills, but Granite Hills is not Division 1 this year, so as good as they've been.
I'm not going to entertain the interchangeable division version of the division. That I had no interest in that.
To me, the last team would just be if you preferred Mission Hills or Cathedral, and Cathedral certainly has the higher strength of schedule. Mission Hills has played really well in recent weeks, so I could be talked into either way on that.
And then the Division 1 championship, I think, also becomes less of a runaway field, because you're talking about the 1 through 4 seeds there being what? Is Mater Dei mixed in as a 1 through 4 seed there? It's going to be the Mission Hills or Cathedral that you don't have out.
It could be El Camino, La Costa Canyon.
To me, that field feels more open than maybe a Helix or a Poway or a Madison or something like that being the 1 seed in Division 1. Am I wrong on that?
No, I think you're right for sure, but I wouldn't look at Division 1 and say, even the way it will be filled out, obviously with 12 teams there, that the winner can only be one of those first 4 seeds. Like, I definitely could see this time of year, who knows how someone came together in league play, maybe got someone eligible, and it's just playing better as the second half goes on.
Tommy Morris, anything on this before we move on to game balls?
Nope, I am good to go with that.
All right, let's talk.
I can't wait till the math comes out, because 3-way tie would be quite the
you came up with the great, let's just do the Friday Night Lights and coin flip somewhere in a beef and bun or something like that.
We can go stream it too.
Yes, and let's go stream it, and let's do.
I think that's Bodie's idea. We got buy the streaming rights to the coin flip.
Yes, and I'm down for that, for making that an event. I don't know. It feels
that would be incredible.
It feels like maybe the Southern section is onto something with this flexibility at the open division. And maybe it's a can of worms that we just don't understand fully, but it also feels kind of right. Tommy Morris, Bodie De Silva, they got game balls and shout outs from the previous week. We are headed into This will be our second to last regular season game balls of the year. We're winding down. Tommy Morris, let's start with you.
Yeah, so these are all non-Division I guys because I figured we'd talk a lot about that today. So Tyson Line from Air Mesa, 260 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and a win for them. Marcus Macon and Xavier Bajarano combined at Palo Verde for 314 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. So there's something going out there in the desert. I might want to keep an eye on those guys. Owen Say from Maranatha, 484 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, and 58 rushing yards. I believe I saw a tweet that said those passing yards and passing touchdowns are both school records. So Maranatha's got quite the offense over there, and I believe Division 5 as well. Jeremiah Castillo, Mount Miguel, 124 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. Anytime you score 4 touchdowns in a game as a receiver, very, very impressive. Those are my 4 game balls.
Bodie De Silva from Scorebook Live. Game balls, and what can people check out from you in terms of the latest list, polls, and voting and that kind of stuff on Scorebook?
Yeah, working on 10 Offensive Player of the Year candidates in the San Diego section. And look, I know we could easily narrow it down to a couple, 2 or 3, Roderick and Julian Sand.
Oh, hey, I was here for all of the conversation. Tommy was the one that swatted me.
I was there for 2 seconds of that conversation.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just there's so many guys that if I were to do it by division or whatever, guys that are playing against bigger schools each week that are putting up huge numbers too. And like Jeremiah Castillo at Mount Miguel putting up some incredible receiving numbers, already 20 receiving touchdowns. So guys like that probably won't win it, but I just want to get them mentioned because they're having huge seasons and it deserves recognition. So for game balls, I'll start with Mason Walsh from Carlsbad, junior running back, first year as the starter. And when you think of Carlsbad's offense, you think of a lot of passing. Julian Sand obviously can do that, but their win over La Costa Canyon 35-0 was the first game all year. Julian did not throw for a touchdown pass, and a lot of it was because of the running game. And Walsh had 136 total yards, 3 touchdowns. Just shows their offense, whoever is going to go up against them in the open division, going to be really tough for them to stop. Chance LaChapa from El Capitan, 7 catches, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns, and their win over Monte Vista. Quincy Heron from Helix, he was on my top tight ends list earlier this year. 7 catches, 148 yards, and 3 touchdowns against Grossmont. Chris Williams from Francis Parker, also a standout big-time baseball player, but he's been doing a little bit of everything for Francis Parker this year. 362 all-purpose yards and 3 rushing touchdowns in their game against Escondido Charter. Then I'll finish it out with a guy I just talked about, Jeremiah Castillo from Mount Miguel. 6 catches, 124 yards, and 4 touchdowns against Valhalla.
Shout out and congratulations to all those student athletes. Guys, let's talk about one of my favorite things in a football season, and that is when a league title comes down to the last week of the season and you get yourself an outright battle that you can pretty definitively walk away going, all right, those teams played head to head. That team won, that team lost. They are the league champs. There's none of this like, oh, math and mutual opponents and all that. So our 4 games that we have going on this week for our game previews in depth, we have 4 league titles. We will spin the wheel of random league titles to decide. And our first game comes up with Madison and Lincoln. 9-0 Madison, 8-1 Lincoln. This feels like the Western League kind of showdown that everybody has been waiting for all season long to see who really is the real deal and who gets the I'm assuming home game on the line in open division, all of that kind of jazz. Starting with you, Tommy Morris, what do you have going on for this game Friday night?
Yeah, and again, it's 9-0 versus 8-1, but I really think that Lincoln could have been 9-0 if they had a quarterback the game they lost. And so they played 2 games with Robinson as a quarterback just running the ball, and they won one of them against good teams too. So I like Lincoln in this game. I know last year Madison got their number. I don't think that happens again. I think Lincoln is probably going to be, when it comes down to it and we start talking to open division playoffs, we're going to be a favorite to win it over Carlsbad. I don't see Lincoln losing another game this year. I like them as a state champion as well.
Let's go. That's spicy. I like it. That's confidence in Lincoln, Tommy. That's how you do it. State championship. We don't even need to do a show anymore.
It's over.
Bodie De Silva, you are our stats department, so you can probably verify. There are only 2 undefeated teams remaining in our section, if I have that correct.
At least in the big divisions. Poway and Madison are the 2 left there.
But your preview on this game.
As for this game, I've had this one circled for a while. I'm going to be there. It really felt like that it was going to come back down to this final game to decide league. And it is incredible how many league games are coming down to the final week where it's head-to-head. And what I still have in my head, I can't get rid of it from last year. I saw these two teams in playoffs, and Madison had won the regular season battle, and Lincoln came out and hit him in the mouth. It was 21-0 in the first quarter. Roderick Robinson ran for 135 in that game. And I'm just going to pick Lincoln again at home. I think it's a really tough matchup there for Madison. Not that Madison doesn't know what they're going up against, and they've been unbeaten so far, but I just think Lincoln's been prepared for this, and expecting Roderick Robinson to have a huge final regular season home game and secure their spot in the Open Division.
The home field advantage deciding the Western League. I love it. That's huge. Next one, we'll go down to the South Bay for the Metro South Bay League Championship between Montgomery and Hilltop. Hilltop having a nice second half of the season. Montgomery at 7-2, having another great year overall. Starting with you, Bodie De Silva, your thoughts on this game, Lancers or Aztecs?
Yeah, I could really go back and forth on each of them here. I think I'm going to go Hilltop with the home field advantage there once again. It's a tough ask for sure, and neither team I don't think is going to come in and score 30 points. So it's going to be, you got to take advantage of each possession you have. I'm going to go with Hilltop here to secure this one to end the regular season.
Tommy Morris, your thoughts?
I like Montgomery's defense. They have not given up a point, not a single point in league play so far. I think that ends on Friday, but I do think they will win the game. I think it's going to be very, very low scoring, something like 14-7 Montgomery. League champs.
Moving out to the East County, we got Granite Hills and Helix, both at 7-2, both at 2-0 in league. They're battling out for the Grossmont Hills League Championship. Bodie, you were the one that mentioned that they could be in the Open. Like, they're having a great year, but this would feel like something of a validator to that year, no matter how good any of their other 7 wins. So is Granite Hills going to get this win, or does Helix retain the dominance out in the East County?
Yeah, coming into the year, this is not one of the ones that you told me in the final week of the season that would have come down to decide it. But Granite Hills has been so impressive enough that I'm going to roll with them in this one. Their defense, since they lost the opener of the season to Poway, they gave up 31 points. Since then, they have not allowed more than 15 points, and that was in a loss to Madison there. They've given up 6, 0, 9, 7, 3, and they're coming in with back-to-back shutouts. The way their defense is playing, I think they go on the road and they can get just enough offense here to take down Helix. I'll go 17-14 Granite Hills. And
our first score of the lineup. Tommy, I see you vaguely nodding your head. Is that a nod in agreement that you are going with Granite Hills on this?
I mean, I had a stat too. They've given up 71 points in 9 games. That's a little bit less than 8 points a game. That's pretty crazy. Helix had a big offensive game last week against Grossmont. It's not the same thing this week. Granite Hills defense is one of the best in the county. And we talked about them potentially being an Open Division team if that was allowed. I think that they would have a really, really, really serious argument there, because I think they're going to win this game. And you beat Helix, you beat the schedule that they've had. They've lost, like Bodie said, lost to Madison, Poway. Those are 2 tough losses. But I think if they got that Poway game again at the end of the season, I think it would go differently. I like Granite here, and I can't believe that we both just picked Granite Hills over Helix. But
I was going to say, what a year, man! This is the This is not some of the 3 of the 4 big historical names have died off and need a couple of years rebuilt. Like, this is, everybody's gone. New sentences are being uttered. Granite Hills is now the sweeping the category favorite to win a game that they've been competitive in, but ultimately Helix would run away with towards the end of all of the recent versions of that. Our last one out in the East County, the Bell game, that is Central, Union, and Brawley. This one is an absolute must watch every single year. And so why not have it be for the Imperial Valley League title? Central and Brawley come into this one both with a couple of losses that I think you kind of go, okay. Like Central, you look back on it, they lost to Mater Dei and Granite Hills. Those are solid ones. Brawley, they have taken a pair of losses to also big teams, and this one just feels like perfectly evenly matched this year. Your thoughts? We'll start with you, Tommy Morris.
Yeah, these are both 2 very good teams, and 2 teams that you don't want to see, because the way they're both very physical and they'll grind out the game, and it makes it very difficult to build a big lead against these guys. For Central, I think we've talked about it before. Charlie Sullivan, stud athlete. He'll be the best player in the field in this game. But for Brawley, and I think we've talked about him briefly, Tanner Carranza is a truck. He's like Jerome Bettis. He plays fullback for them. He has 15 touchdowns in 8 games. Got a very good athlete at quarterback there for Brawley as well. I like Brawley in this one. I think this is going to be very, very close. I think it's going to be, again, both. I think there'll be 5 touchdowns scored between the 2 teams, and then one team will get 3, and that's how they win. So I think somewhere around 21-14, something in there. But I do like both these teams. I think the playoffs will both be very, very lethal. But I like Brawley so far, again, at home in this matchup.
Bodie De Silva from Scorebook Live. What do you say you close it out with our last regular season pick of the year?
Yeah, I could really go either way. I'm going to go with Central here. Charlie Sullivan, I think he caps off the regular season with a huge rushing game. I'll go over 150 yards for him, and just enough to push Central to win this huge rivalry and lockdown league.
Love it. Guys, anything that we missed from this week in San Diego high school football and or sports? Last thing I want to plug is the San Diego Sports Association is back at it with their National Letter of Intent Signing Day celebration. Wanted to point out, though, that this one is the day after the actual signing day due to venue availability issues. We had to get somewhere that we could make sure that we could get all of you guys properly in there and celebrated. We're hoping to have the same level of attendance.
Too many good athletes.
Yeah. Well,
too many of them.
The last couple of years, we've done 200 plus on signing day, and that's badass. And we wanted to keep doing that. And nothing that was available in that morning was within our price range. And if any of you have big pockets that want to come support the San Diego Sports Association, we will happily go back to renting out Petco Park. But for the Kroc Theater, that is the perfect fit for everybody and everything. It's going to be the next day. So we apologize for you having to delay your gratification. But we look forward
or just sign it at school, and you can do one. You get 2 out of this. This is what I used to do. You can get it's like getting 2 birthday parties. You do one at school, and then you can do one at the signing day. So you get.
And if I can do a little bit of a postscript, that is actually kind of the hope, is that there's been some schools in the last 2 years plus that I've been involved with this that are doing their own thing on campus, and that either leads to that school just not being able to attend, or they're sprinting in 30-40 minutes late after everybody. We're trying to, we figured no stress. Everybody will show up if they want to show up. It's a free event. It's in the morning. It'll be done by 9 a.m. But yeah, all the details will be on our social media as well as San Diego Sports Association. I hope that Bodie will be there. I don't know why he wouldn't. He always is. He's the best.
No, it's a great opportunity to get all these athletes at one place and knock out some interviews and photos and all that. So
we hope you all go check that out. And we hope to see you guys all there. And for younger athletes, we hope to see you there eventually one day. Congratulations to everybody. All feel good, happy rainbow thoughts on the way out. Talk to you guys next week.